Wait, did you share the board? Let me check.
No, you can just join live chess
Okay.
for the board, and we'll probably be talking for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then we'll get to the board. So,
Okay.
hang on. Let me switch networks here. Oh, five. Okay, that's good. Okay, I think it's okay. All right. Greetings, everybody. Uh, we are back with another lesson with the Chess Maestro, and we had a short break. I think you had a trip somewhere.
Yeah, I traveled to Abha. It's a region in Saudi Arabia.
Okay, cool. Was that fun? Was that for fun or
Oh, yeah.
for? Yeah.
Yeah, it was like yeah, definitely. They have a lot of good kind of it's a tourist place here in Saudi. The weather is good, so yeah, it's nice to live somewhere where you're not feeling like you're in Auburn or something. But
Right. So there's okay. I would have thought most of the country was pretty hot in in summer.
well, no, yeah, there are a lot of mountainous regions here, but yeah,
Okay.
that's one of them.
Cool. Well, I'm still on my trip here in Hawaii for a couple more weeks. Um, and today we're going to switch gears a little bit, well, completely for a week. We've been working on the opening aggression, right? When to use it, when not to use it, and how to think from your opponent's perspective before going for something sort of more aggressive or more risky. And today, sorry, let me just switch one thing with my view here. Okay, and today we're going to switch and we're going to start trying to figure out the slowness question, right? Why you can get every tactic right if you take your time and get winning positions and need time to play a 45-minute game with like 30-second increment and flag, like actually lose on time with 2 or 3 minutes on your clock. So we're gonna
It's
start. We're gonna start trying to figure out what's going on there.
awesome.
And so before we run some tests, I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. Uh, so here we go. The first question is, what do you love most about chess?
Hmm. It's an interesting question because I thought that I liked the strategic aspect before, but now I think that there's nothing that I don't like. Like every new kind of area I tackled is fascinating to me. So I still don't have a favorite. Probably strategic again, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, nothing. Like even in game, I like in game because I'm gonna be able to make decisions in the middle game. Like I don't have an exact area. I don't know if that answers this question, but
Okay. And what makes you play chess? Why do you want to play chess, or want to play chess more, want to study it? Like,
mm, I don't know. Just well, the main reason is because I find it like a spiritual journey in Jesse's terms.
mm-hmm.
Uh, like I want to develop my decision making, and I think chess is yeah. So far, it has been helping, and I think it's a good way of kind of developing myself through the game.
You sound like a true student of Jesse. My next question is about your goal. You have an ambitious goal. Jesse's also somebody who likes always having like a goal or a quest, something that you're going for. But my next question is, why do you have such an ambitious goal in chess?
Mm, why the goal? Um,
Because just to give you a sense of what some other people's goals might be, someone else might have a goal of like, oh, I just want to like, learn some cool end games, study Smislav's games and understand them. And someone else might have a goal like, oh, I want to reach, 1600, or, I want to gain 100 points or something like that. So you've got, in some ways, a more ambitious goal than a lot of other goals that I come across. So,
um, I don't know. Like, it's just a goal that I set, and I don't know. Sometimes I'm just so persistent when I set a goal that I just can't think of anything else. This
mm-hmm.
is one of them. Uh, it helps that I'm having fun while I'm at it, but not sure honestly why I set this specific goal. But
Okay. Once you set
yeah.
it, you're going to stick with it, but you don't remember exactly what inspired you.
Yeah, like it didn't happen in it sort of happened gradually. I just started going back to chess because I got sick and I just had free time, and then the
Mm-hmm.
more I played, the more I uh, wanted to develop more, and just like when they said I'm gonna be the champion of my country, and it went from there. And like I don't remember any exact thing that motivated me,
Okay.
but yeah.
In other areas of your life, are you competitive? Because, in a certain sense, your goal here in chess is sort of about being better than other people, right? In other aspects of your life, do you like being better or winning?
Maybe I misphrased that because yeah, I'm definitely competitive to answer your question, but this is kind of the immediate goal that I'm having right now, and in order to accomplish it in the time frame um, that I think I have right now, I kind of set it or had the goal set in this way, which is win the championship in like 2 or 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely, my goal is just to become better. Eventually, I don't have like a set goal
Mm-hmm.
in terms of uh, rating or something. I just want to understand better. I want to learn more. I just want to see more of the game, sort
Okay.
of, uh, to say. But yeah, um, yeah. I'm sorry if I'm not
That's
giving
fine.
you clear answers here, but really, I don't have kind of a set rating. Just this championship was just a way to have a short term goal,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely I'm fine even if I don't accomplish that, as long as I'm learning, which I am during this period, and I'm happy with that. So yeah.
Right. On a scale from like 0 to Carlson, from 0 to, I don't know, 2880 or something like that. Um, what do you think your rating would be in programming?
Programming,
Mm-hmm.
I would say 2650,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 2700, something like that.
Mm-hmm. Did that take a lot of work, or did you get that good within 1 or 2 years?
No, seriously, it took more than 15 years.
It took more than 15 years of like improving and improving and improving.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Is there anything other than like programming or chess where you've tried to like sort of become as good as you could be, or have this kind of spiritual quest of improving yourself to some incredible level?
Um, Nothing that comes to mind. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, I don't remember something specific. Like I was focused on programming
Yeah.
until now, but
And you must have enjoyed it a lot while you were improving, right?
oh, definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like programming I like or as much as I like chess. So yeah,
Cool.
having fun both ways.
Nice.
Mhm.
And do you care about your online ratings at all? Like chess.com or Chess? Does it matter to you if your rating is like 1500 or 1600 or 1550? Like, do you care about like having your highest rating or improving it?
Like sometimes I fall into this pitfall because it's kind of a metric or a measurement of my progress, and
Yeah.
sometimes I fall into that trap. But really, I know like uh, that I don't really care about it. It's
Mm-hmm.
just the board and whatever is presented on the board that I'm playing. So it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. I mean,
But
you're
yeah,
right.
sometimes
You're
I fall
you're
into that.
right that as a metric, like it can be important to some extent, and maybe we could think of it in terms of the difference of like, does somebody check their rating after every game, or do they check their rating once a month, or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, if you look over the course of a couple months, then hopefully you're seeing improvement. But after a game you lose, you know, there's different levels of people being upset, right? But some people they're focused on, oh man, there went 10 rating points, and other people are like, oh man, I made a blunder, and other people are like, oh well, who cares? There's so many different kind of responses, and I wonder if like on a day-to-day basis, do you care about your ratings?
Uh, no, but I was really say it, but I was uh excessively panicking or nervous. I don't know what you would call it when I make uh wrong judgment in the game. So winning or losing was not an issue for me. Like I didn't care if I even if I lost every single game.
Mm-hmm.
The result didn't matter. It was just the decisions that I was taking during the game and
Individual
whether
bad decisions in a game will upset you.
yeah, exactly. Especially if it's a repeated mistake. Like this is definitely a thing. If I make
Yeah,
a mistake twice or three times,
yeah,
I'm gonna go crazy. I know that.
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but it's a good thing because it encourages me not to repeat mistakes, I
When
guess.
I was younger, I would sometimes lose a game and get so mad. I would tell myself that's the last time I ever lose a chess game, which is like completely impossible and unrealistic. So any really young people out there, or people who are just young in terms of their chess lives and careers, when you hear yourself saying that, know that that's not realistic. But but at some point it developed to a thing where I would say like, okay, I'm not going to lose like that again, right? So if I lost to, getting a doubled pawn in the opening on this square and then not coming up with any kind of counterplay or whatever, right? Um, I would say I'm not going to lose a game that looks exactly like this game here that I just lost, right? Like I want to at least have learned something from it. It's okay to learn. It's okay to lose a different way each time, but not just like again and again. So I think that's probably in the same direction as you. Um, and okay. Um, all right. I think I've got the answers that I need, and we can get into some actual testing now. Oh wait, no, I had another question. Do you
Okay.
find that there are other things other than chess where you would be slow? So let's take an example of like programming, which is something we know you're good at. Like, are you good but slow in programming, or did you
Oh,
eventually get faster in programming?
no, I'm actually very slow, but yeah, I specialize in difficult problems. So
Uh-huh.
give me a lot of easy problems and I'm gonna be too slow than average. But give me a tough one and I'm gonna be able to solve it. Uh,
Aha. And did that specialization come naturally to you? Like, were you always more interested in more difficult problems and not
yeah.
particularly fast at things that you'd learned already?
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. All right. So, if you go into live chess, we're gonna play out some positions together. and I'm going to give you positions to play out against me and put a lot of time pressure on you for those positions.
Okay.
Okay? Your goal is to win as many games as you can against me today.
All right.
I'll be giving you positions where you have, an advantage. I'm not just going to, try to like crush you with International Master opening prep or something like that and then say, hi, you didn't win. You will have a very good chance of winning, but your main opponent here is going to be the clock, and I'm just going to see how that works. So, are you in live chess right now?
Should be.
Okay, cool. Let me try this. It may take me 1 or 2 tries to get this command right, but let's see. Okay, so I have to give you white. Okay, you're going to have 1 minute and a 2-second increment for this position if this works out. Okay, yeah. So you're white. Did it pop up for you?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, so you've got a 2-second increment to help you get through this, and otherwise that's your time.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
It's probably going to abort the game if you don't move.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, that's 1. Good job.
Thank you. Barely in time.
Okay. Okay, here comes the next one. You're going to get the same position, but with no increment. There you go.
Okay. Ah, 9 to
Okay, close. Let's try again. Same rules there. Okay, good luck.
Thank you. Hmm, okay. Oh God. Yeah. Okay. So how about that?
No problem. How are you feeling?
Uh, Fine. Just need to be less pressured by time, I guess. Okay. Sure. Oh, mm,
All right, nice. That's 2.
thank you.
Okay, this one here. We'll give you 2 minutes and 2-second increment. What? There we go. What? It's the same one, sorry.
Okay.
Why is it showing me the wrong position? Sorry. I'll just resign. Hang on.
Sure.
Wait, how can I resign? Oh, you have to make a move and then I'll resign. Probably. Why can't I resign? There we go. Resign. Okay. Why did that get the wrong position? Okay, hang on. Let me go find my other position. Okay, that's better. So you've got 2 minutes and a 2-second increment. But only 1 rook instead of 2.
Okay.
Well, it's better. 2 minutes and 1 rook. Or 2 rooks in 1 minute.
Hmm. Yeah, there we go. Mm. Wow, that's impressive. Hmm. Oh,
Hmm. So that's how that happens. You didn't even know that you were out of time.
yeah.
Interesting.
Well, this time I was focused on the position, not the
Right.
time. Okay. Hmm. There we go. Really. Okay. not getting me this time.
I'm just gonna
Hopefully.
have you flag.
Yeah, that's a good start. Alrighty. Where can I do this? That's definitely not the way to do it. Oh my god.
Think about it some more.
Yeah. Okay. Didn't study that.
I successfully remembered it was the Alt key to avoid the auto queen.
Pretty on.
You think you can do that one if I give you another chance?
Hopefully, yes.
Okay, whatever you do, don't flag. If it gets down to like less than 10 seconds, just keep making moves.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Hmm. Oh my god. That was awesome. Oh my god, I could have kicked the knight. That was too. Okay. Damn it. Okay. How can I resign?
You can resign, just don't flag. Good
Oh,
work.
okay. Hmm.
Okay, so now I'm going to give you an extra minute and for the same position. So hopefully that'll feel like a lot more time than what you had before. Basically trying to stretch, right? By making you play faster than when we relax. Hopefully that makes it a little bit easier. We'll see.
Finally. Let me check that. feel lost already.
Yeah, you've got no chance here. Maybe you could resign.
Mm. Maybe I'll learn something.
Oh, you made it harder for me by not resigning.
Mm. Uh, Oh, I should have gone D3. D3. Mhm. What the? Hmm.
So
Oh,
you know
hold
when
on.
we
What's that?
you know
Okay,
when we
maybe
talked
I
about
missed
you
it.
resigning, you were completely winning still, right?
Think so, but I just
Yeah.
thought I'm gonna be running out of time.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't know. But if it didn't feel losing, at least
No, no, you were winning.
didn't feel losing here. Yeah, here I don't know why I resign. I don't know. It's gonna take a while for me to evaluate this. I think losing. Yeah. No,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is losing at this point. That's true. Okay.
that's great.
Okay. So now I'm going to give you 4 minutes instead of 3. See if you keep using up whatever time you get. Or if you can save 1 or 2 minutes left over at the end.
All right.
So this works. All right.
Mm. This is gonna be weird. Probably blundering something. Which one is- Yeah.
3. Good job.
That's lucky.
Okay. I would say, even after playing that position 3 or 4 times, you're playing it slow. Like, if I took your time back down to 1 or 2 minutes instead of 4, I wouldn't be confident.
I mean, winning, you mean? Yes, definitely. I'm exploring new ideas in every time. Trying to.
You've never picked one idea that you thought was worth repeating?
Um, well, the first move, Rook D1, was it? To
Mm-hmm.
just block the king.
Mm-hmm. You like
That
that.
was consistent, I guess. Yes.
Cool.
I didn't do it on the first game, and I regretted that.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much everything else, like in the last game, I noticed that the H pawn was passed pawn. Should have utilized that.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And yeah, and that made me kind of consider moving the rook to the king side and maybe reroute it from behind the A pawn.
Yeah.
Uh,
Let me ask you a question about the starting position.
mhm.
After you play Rook D1 on the very first move,
Mm-hmm.
can you see and remember that position just fine somewhere on your computer? You see it?
It's in front of me.
Yeah,
Do
perfect.
I need?
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
If black then plays knight to d5, 5
Mm-hmm.
seconds to tell me whether or not white could take the knight and win. Would rook takes knight win here?
Takes.
Time's up. What do you think? Yes? No?
Looks winning.
Yeah, it is winning. That's a good thing to know, because that's the kind of thing which, if you just know it, it can speed up a lot of decisions, right? So, like, if I play knight d5 or knight d7 in the starting position, right? You can just take it
Yeah.
immediately, right? And then start pushing the h pawn, right? I mean, there have to be certain like base positions that you just know, so you don't have to worry about the judgment or the evaluation, right? Like some things you can just do, and then boom, boom, boom. Okay, so let's try this for example. Um, I'm going to give you the same position with only 1 minute, but I'm going to blunder the knight move right at the beginning, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, oops, hang on. It's such a long command, I make a fair number of typos. Okay, go, 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 go. Ah. Go, go, go.
Okay.
Come on. 45, 44, 43. Do you want to win this game? $30. $18.
Come on. Okay. That was stupid.
5.
Okay, close enough.
Okay. Close. Close. You're wasting like 10 seconds on obvious moves at the beginning of it. I know at the end with the queen, it's like, oh, it's impossible. I only need a few moves. I'm easily winning, but, I've got 3 seconds, so I'm going to flag. But at the start, you're spending 5 seconds to play king d2. I mean, you could play king e2, king d2, h4. It makes no difference. And you're spending 5 seconds on every single move. On choosing to move the a pawn up one square, you spent 7 seconds. I mean, it just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter.
Sure. Tend to do that.
Some moves just absolutely don't matter. You can play them in any order and it doesn't change things. As long as you have the h pawn, you eventually win. All right. You can do it. Go. 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 Go.
Okay.
Faster. So this time you've got 30 seconds instead of 15 at this point. That's good. Keep going.
Please.
You better get this one.
I'm gonna flag, I can tell. Jesus. I can tell. Oh my god. Oh, damn it. Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah, that's a good thing because I'm noticing right now because I'm never stressed during end games. Usually have more time. That my end game technique is gone when I'm this stressed out. Like I don't remember a thing. Guess I need more practice.
Yeah. I mean, this kind of stuff, yeah, you want to be able to do this in just, I mean, it should just be your hand, not even your head. It just let it do whatever it wants to do. Like the way people can play instruments because they've played it before. They don't have to think about what note they're playing next. They just let their body play it. All right. Are you tired? Or not? You don't seem tired, but tell me.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
You good? Okay. Do you feel at all stressed?
No?
No. Totally calm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you seem really calm. Weird. Okay. Okay, now you're going to play a 1-minute game against me. I'll sacrifice some pieces at the start of the game. But you've just got 1 minute to play an entire game. But you don't care. You're not stressed. You're just okay with flagging. You don't care if you win. I'll send you a cookie if you win.
That'd be great. Okay. So my goal is not to flag. You're saying?
Your goal is to win. You need to win these points. You're at 3 points so far today. You need to rack up some more points.
I mean, depending on how many sacrifices.
You can only become the champion if you win the games. Ready? Okay.
God.
4 seconds to pick which piece you wanted to take my knight with. It didn't matter. Take with either piece. Just get me. All right, I'm not hanging any more pieces. Good luck. You can't win if you don't move.
That's true. What? Oh, I didn't know. Sorry. Thought I had more time. Oh, that went quickly. Are you on to something? Because
What?
I mean, this is really interesting.
You have 2
Like,
queens.
I'm not even looking at the point. Oh, you're keeping score. Yeah. Well,
You
no,
can
I'm just saying that usually I'm looking at time, but right now I'm just focused on
just
this
assume you have no time. Every move has to be made in 0 seconds, so just assume you always have no time.
Okay.
That's much better. Keep going.
Okay.
Just put the bishop on any square, but 10 times faster. Look, I've taken my hands off the keyboard.
Seriously?
All right, I ran out of pre-moves. I added some more. No! Ah, you got me! Oh my goodness. All right, that's 4. Good job. Very good.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. Wow. Okay. Sometimes I'm blind.
Nope. Broke my pre-moves. Okay.
Seriously.
Oh. Broke my pre-moves again. Did I lose? No, I won.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I'm doing.
What's that?
I'm just surprised at how much I'm not able to do this. Right.
Yeah, I mean, look at this final position we have. If I were you, I would play, rook d1, queen d2, queen d6, rook d2, rook d1, just bring all the rooks. Anytime there's a chance to trade a rook for a bishop, just trade off the bishop with your rook to take more pieces off the board,
Makes sense. Yeah.
right? Then make a couple extra queens with your pawns. Okay,
Some that this time.
again.
Okay. Do you make a move? Oh. Yes. Mm. But
So,
I don't know. It's hard to tell because it's happening too quickly. But I'm thinking that I'm having a lot of ideas and just not a clear dominant one.
a5, a4, a3, a2, a1, or g5 when I played
No, with
h4.
the
So
pieces.
you could use
Didn't
that
even
rook.
think about it. I'm sorry?
You could play g5 when I played h4 so that your rook would still be trying to checkmate me on the h file.
Mm.
That's an
Makes
option.
sense.
Another option is to push your a pawn all the way down the board just to have another queen.
That makes sense too. Yeah, I was fixated on mating you with the
Mm-hmm.
major pieces. Most of it.
Yeah. You have to do that not by calculating a checkmate, but just moving your pieces close to my king until accidentally it's checkmate. I think
Hmm.
literally when people checkmate other people in Bullet, they're often like, "Oh, they didn't even see it when they played mate in one." They were just putting their pieces near the other king.
Let me see.
Okay,
Mhm.
last one.
Okay. That's me.
Oops.
But we're still in sacking mode. Okay.
See, that was an accidental checkmate in one. I thought your pawn had taken my rook by then.
Yeah, I didn't even see that. Or I forgot about it.
Mm-hmm. Um, Interesting. Weird. Okay. Well, obviously, this is something like way outside of your nature to just do things faster. Um, I'm gonna play over these games myself a little bit more later and see what the quality of your play was in the bullet games. Um, because it went too fast for me to really see. I have a good sense on the rapid games. Um, I think in the rapid games when you spent 4 minutes versus 3 minutes versus 2 minutes, in those end games, it didn't make too much of a difference. It just felt like whatever time you had, you used it up.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't necessarily play any worse when you played the moves in 1 minute than when you played the moves in 4 minutes. Um, Sometimes when you noticed you were low on time, there would be like a drop off in the last like 20 seconds, like what I have when I play chess. When I realize I'm under 20 seconds, I just go blank, or as Charlie Silva says, blank minded. Like I just, just lose everything. I have no, like, just no thought anymore. I always keep moving pieces, but I stop like seeing which pieces can take, or who has mate in one or anything like that.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely feels like that.
but I think to some extent, like the difference between 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, etc., like it's not changing the quality too much. It's just kind of like you sit there and ponder. Um, and I mean, myself now, I'm not really much of a competitive chess player. I am more of somebody who's just interested in studying and learning and exploring. And on the one hand, you sound like that, somebody on like a spiritual path, but the spiritual path's not going to have any like wins or like rating point gains or championships or any of those kind of goals achieved if when it comes down to it, you don't care about winning or losing the game that you're playing at the time that you're playing it. Right? I don't get any sense from you that you really care if you win or lose. You feel like hyper philosophical to me. I understand you get upset about like a mistake, which some people might themselves mistake with, caring about winning or losing. But it seems like it's not really related to that. You want your decision making process to improve and be strong and good over time, but that's completely different than caring about the result of the game. And ultimately, as philosophical as Jesse Cry might be, or I might be, and however much we may enjoy like sitting and looking at an end game for 10 hours, we have a mode we switch on when we're playing competitive games. And even though it's been 8 years since I cared or tried, when I sit down at the board, I can switch that mode on in like 1 second. So it is a mode, and it is an option that exists. When we went into today, I didn't know if maybe you had a problem with being too competitive, but actually, not that it's necessarily a problem or whatever, but actually you're completely uncompetitive here, it seems to me, when it comes to chess. You just really didn't care if you won 2 games or 10 games or 6 games today. Jesse would be like cussing up a storm if he flagged some of those positions with king and queen against king, and like, you're 2 moves away from checkmate, right? And I'm just moving my king back and forth and you flag. I mean, he would be, Kosti would be having to like censor his audio, his mic on air. So I think that you're going to have to make a choice between having a competitive mode or changing your goals. Because right now your goal is a competitive goal, which you are never going to achieve with your current like mindset. You can't be like a champion when you don't even care about winning a single game. Like, there's no way to just be like so well versed in everything chess that you accidentally win every game without looking at the clock or wanting to win the game or trying to beat your opponent. Like, there's no way. There's no way, right? So you will have to make some kind of choice there. Like, you could reframe your goal to be, I understand all these things, I can answer all these questions that anyone can ask me about these structures and these positions and these end games, or I can actually win these things like under time pressure. Like, those are going to be very different kinds of goals, and you could change the way your goal stacks up right now, or you can create a mode where you're just dying to win that game.
I guess it's the latter option then, but I've never thought about it this way, because the mindset that I'm having right now is because I want to eventually win. It's just that I'm maybe patient about it, or just kind of having it just in stages.
But you want to be champion of a country in like 3 years.
And I don't know. Maybe I'm just unrealistic or not. I don't have the kind of enough kind of factors to judge this thing. But I thought that was challenging but doable. But maybe it's totally unrealistic. I don't know. You would have a sense of that. Maybe I don't. But
I mean, it's doable, but it would require not just learning chess, but it would require a different approach to every single game you play. That you would like hone and train what's sometimes called kind of like a killer instinct. And I mean, we're a friendly group here, and hopefully I don't strike you as somebody violent or mean in any way, but but it's what's often called a killer instinct, and it's just like to be able to pull out like a very, very strong desire to do something, and when you pull out the desire, you're focused on achieving that one thing, right? So if somebody told me like, David, it's on the line now, you win this game, we give you like $1 billion, you lose this game, we kill you, and now you're going to play a game with 1 minute on the clock and kids screaming and like running through the room, and somebody's like knocking my hand off my mouse while I try and play, I'm still going to, win that game, right? I'm not going to hear anybody in the room. I'm just going to go into like a mode where like I just anything I have to do to win the game, clutch the mouse, move the mouse on my head if I can't get to my trackpad, like anything to achieve whatever that little goal is there. And so when I sit down and play this game with you and I say, Maestro, you've got 1 minute to checkmate me. You've got an extra rook on the board. It is possible, but you've got a minute and you're not getting an extra 5 seconds and you don't get a cookie for like, well, he was close. He was 2 moves away from checkmate, right? You get nothing for it. You have to have a mode where you're like, I am going to like do this right now. Without that kind of a mode, I would say that your goal would become unrealistic. And also it would just be kind of unsuited, right? It's like your goal and your approach would have this discrepancy where one is philosophical and the other is competitive. And you need to at least have the competitive mode. It's not that you can't be philosophical. It's not that you can't be patient. It's not that you can't be long term. It's just that you have to be able to pull that out if you want to be able to win games. Yeah. You have to have like a mode where you really want to win those games.
Okay, so a quick question here. How would that translate into my play? Like, would just, so in games when I have a decision of winning or exploring something new, like a new idea or learning something about the position, I always take the latter. And
right.
What I'm getting from you today is, no, I should pick the first.
Well, you would definitely need to start by training up the mode that you don't have. And you can switch between the modes once you have them. I switch between the modes. So I've sat down to play tournament games against an opponent who I've profiled. And the main reason most people profile an opponent is to play into their weaknesses and, win the game, right? But I've played plenty of games in tournaments where I profiled my opponent and I was like, you know what? They're not good enough. I'm going to play into their strength so that this is better training for me, right? The only opening this person's good at is this one, so I'm going to play into this opening so that this game is better training value for me. I know if I play into their weakness, like whatever, I'll win for sure and I won't learn as much. So it's not that I'm always trying to win at all costs. It's not like every game I play, I'm trying to maximize my winning percentage with every decision, every move. But I do have a mode where I can do that, right? So if I took that same game and that same opponent, now you said, hey, David, you have to win this game in order to if you win this game, these two countries, I don't know, North and South Korea are going to declare peace on each other. Right? And there's like a real reason that I can switch and say, okay, forget about going into this guy's best opening. Like, we're going to destroy him in this, like, Achilles heel, right? So, you would first need to establish that mode, and then you can go back and forth. There's definitely lots of times where I would advocate somebody to make decisions that increase their long-term learning at the cost of maximizing their chances of winning that game, for sure. And a lot of people don't understand that, and they'll happily stay in their rut. And they're like, well, I've got the best chance of getting from 1360 to 1365 if I play 5,000 more Scotch openings in a row. And, they're probably right as far as like, that next game or that next game. Their chances one game at a time are always better to gain those 5 rating points by playing the next Scotch game, right? Mm-hmm. So normally I have to tell those people like, look, if you're trying to one day be 1900, you're going to have to know something other than that Scotch game. Like, maybe it's your best chance to eke out another 5 points. It's not your best chance to eke out another 500 points over the next 3 years, right? So you can definitely go back and forth between long-term learning and those kind of goals and just, killer instinct trying to win games, right? But you seem to more or less lack the killer instinct mode, or, we could try again another week and, set some kind of goal for yourself and see if you can achieve it. Like, do a session like this and say, Maestro, your goal is to get 10 points, and you come up with some kind of reward for yourself that could motivate you, or maybe you can just turn it on without an extrinsic reward. I don't need a reward anymore. I can always just tell myself, like, oh, did we say this game matters? Okay, it matters. But But you decide if we need to like set a goal or something. We could go again and we can see if you can do it. Otherwise, we're gonna have to develop that mode and sort of like, you know. I mean, if you want it, I'm not saying that you need it. It doesn't necessarily make people
No, no,
happier, but
definitely, definitely. Let's go for it. It's just that I'm trying to think whether because I thought that I did my best, and I'm starting to think maybe I don't have that mode. Because I was dead serious on winning every single one, but
you're dead serious on winning the games.
yeah.
What about with me
But
today? You wanted to like win every single one.
I wasn't keeping score, but definitely yes, I
You
was
didn't,
focused on each game when we were
but you
playing
never
them.
seemed
But
like upset when you didn't win one.
maybe that's just me. I try to. Well, first of all, you're an I was kind of being realistic because in my head, I'm almost not gonna win. But well, I'm not gonna win. But maybe with the sacking, it kind of even the odds. But I wasn't. I was happy with wins. I wasn't sad with losses because they were realistic. I guess in my perspective, maybe
Yeah.
it's
It's like
illogical, but
so. One of the reasons my bullet rating's not very high is because when I've got king and queen against king, and like 2 seconds left, it doesn't really matter to me whether or not I win that game. My killer mode doesn't like turn on for that. I just don't care, right? In
yeah.
bullet games or chess games, once I'm ahead by, you know, a queen as a 2400 player, it's just not interesting to me anymore, right? Like if my opponent doesn't want to resign, whatever, I'm not wasting another 30 seconds playing with an extra queen against
Mhm.
some random person I don't know for no stakes, right? Um but as I said, if for some reason somebody said this game matters, like I could, right? But on average, I just don't care. But it felt like you, to me, sitting across the board from you, it felt like you didn't care that much. Like you had king and queen
Ah,
against king a couple times and sort of flagged to a draw, I guess, because I had no pieces left. But I think like twice you got down to king and queen against king. Um and you know, my king was in the corner, you had 5 seconds. I mean, it was like very very possible. But it didn't seem like you really cared. There was no like darn it when you when you flagged.
uh, well, it was definitely, but probably because I know myself and like I'm usually calm, but definitely that wasn't my calm state. Even though you asked me and I said I was calm, like
Hmm.
my heart was beating very fast back then.
Okay.
But
So you had some kind of, you know, human physical like something going with your
exactly, definitely,
chemicals.
definitely,
Okay.
definitely. But like again, because I'm facing an IM and I'm out of my comfort zone, playing fast. It's not like we're playing correspondence or anything, and I have to make the best decisions. Like
Right.
I'm trying to do the fastest move I can think of, and I was trying every single time. Like
Okay.
I never was, I never kind of lacked the motivation to win. Definitely, I
Okay.
can tell you that, and
I mean, if we
um,
repeated the same kind of thing with these same positions, right? Like the end games where you've got, you know, a rook and an H pawn against a knight, or two rooks against a knight and pawn. I mean, do you think you could do better? Do you think you could win consistently some of these things if you stopped exploring different options? If you just tried to win the same way as much as possible? That's a very practical approach.
yeah, that would be definitely a way. But you were changing your play style as well, so I couldn't kind of
I tried to
repeat.
change moves a little bit so it wouldn't be too easy for you to just repeat exactly the same.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I had limited room to do that in the end games where I had just one single knight, but I tried.
yeah.
Just because when I play a different move, then you usually sit there for like a minute, increasing your chances of flagging. I mean, you could also take it a little bit like it doesn't make any difference, just make any random move, right? Like whenever you can, move the H pawn up the board, right? Whenever you can, move your king up the board. Like there's some basic things that just always improve the position. It doesn't really matter the order.
Hmm. Yeah, maybe back then I was thinking this is gonna ruin the plan, or you playing a different move, and so I've gotta think of a better plan to win rather than just move a simple move.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, definitely it's not practical because I was timing out. But yeah, yeah. Again, if we want to develop this mood, I'm all for it. Um, I think today was more about timing out, in
Mm-hmm.
my opinion, rather than, like changing the decision between exploring new ideas in games and going with whatever I know to win. That's an easy thing to do. I can switch that immediately right now, and I'll
Okay.
never, I'll definitely try to win seriously.
Okay.
Because I know for a fact that my rating right now is below 1400, and I'm definitely way above that. But because I was exploring as much as possible, most of the time I lose.
Mm-hmm.
But I learned a lot from that, and that was the point. But I
Great.
can definitely switch that and get back to the serious mode of winning every single time. But
Well,
I don't know if
let's be very
today's
clear about when you're in one mode or another, and let's go back and forth then, right? So,
Mhm.
if you're playing a certain number of like games in a week, let's say, let's do exploring mode like whatever 5 days a week, but you have 1 or 2 days a week where you always just try to win.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, oh, it's Thursday. Thursdays I win all my games, or something like that, right? And then
Mhm.
on other days you can explore whatever. I mean, but we have to be very clear and be able to like go back and forth. And you don't want to be in a game situation and tell yourself, well, my opponent's an IM, or well, I'm low on time, so I probably won't end up winning this game, but I'll try and play a few more good moves and get it close to a win. You know what I mean? I think I can recall a few times, like way back in the day, when I would be playing, when I was first starting to play against GMs. And I would get these positions that were kind of bad for me. Like I would get like a disadvantage in the opening, let's say. And I would basically have a realization like, oh, I'll probably lose this game eventually, right? And then basically I would be giving myself some kind of like points in my head for like, ooh, I made it to move like 65 against like a GM, or oh, like they only won by one tempo, or oh, they only won by like one pawn in that end game, or something like that. I made it this close or that close. And I was like giving myself some kind of like mental applause for something other than just the absolute result. And I don't think we should ever do that, honestly. It's not very useful because I mean, your opponent's not worrying about trying to beat you quickly or beat you by 3 pawns or whatever, right? I mean, they're just like playing the game well, and like if they needed to, maybe they could have beaten you by 2 pawns. They just did it by one because it was simple and you allowed it, so they just won it like that. I mean, like ultimately, it's just win, draw, or lose, and I don't think we should give ourselves points for that. And when you know, once I'd like, drawn or beaten some GMs or spent more time playing GMs or whatever, like that sort of thinking disappeared. It was just like I didn't care who my opponent was. I just played the board and tried to score every point I could on the board. Win if I had an equal or better position, and draw if I had a worse position. Sometimes try to win when I've got a bad position, but that doesn't work out so well. So what I wanted to mention about what you said, I mean, like saying, oh, my opponent's an IM, or oh, I'm like, I know this is like outside of my comfort zone. Those are sort of like excuse manufacturing that's not consistent with like a score every point kind of mode. If you're trying to score every point, you're not thinking about that kind of stuff. You're not thinking about intermediate goals, or oh, at least I tried, or oh, I used my time, or whatever, right? Like, you're just like trying to get that point, and it doesn't matter who your opponent is, right? And if I had, one of those end games you have, like rook against knight, I wouldn't think like, oh, it's alpha 0, so it'll probably be tough. I would just say like, I've got a rook against a knight, I have to win this end game. And I wouldn't even be thinking about whether I was playing Alpha Zero, or Carlson, or you, or my mother, right? I would just be trying to win because I've got a rook. Um, so so yeah, I mean, I, I I guess I'm not completely confident on exactly what's going on, but I feel like your like trying to win mode is not really like the kind of like win mode that I'm thinking of and talking about. I feel like like it's not really there.
Okay, sure. Yeah. How can we kind of test that out or
Yeah. So, I
develop that?
mean, one thing is we have to we basically have to just occasionally have some tests. Like we have to have periodically, and it can be like a test I administer, like I give you some positions and I'm like, here, you've got these positions and you've got an hour, solve as many as you can, right? Or it can be a test like on this day you play 3 games in a row and you just try to get the most points out of 3. It doesn't matter anything else, just the most points out of 3. We just have to do that like periodically, and I can see how you do, and we can talk about how you felt during it, right? And if you tell me like, well, I decided to try out this new opening, I'd be like, why did you try out a new opening? Thursday's the day when you win, right? So um it's very weird because, and I happen to see a couple of people talking in chat, like this is like the opposite of what I normally talk to people about or teach people. Usually I'm telling everybody to be more long-term focused, more reflective, more philosophical, less focused on winning, less focused on points. It's really the opposite. I never make people play faster. It's the first time that bullet chess has ever happened in a lesson of mine. Um, but if, and I'm not telling you that you should change, right? When I say like what these different modes and options are, I never try to tell my students like you should try to do this or that. But I can tell you, if X is your goal and Y is your approach and that's not going to match, I can tell you that and tell you like what your options are, and I can support you in whatever you choose. If you want to develop a killer mode, I can try and help you to develop that. If you think you already have one, I can keep double checking and seeing if you really do, when I
Yeah.
at the moment sort of doubt it.
Yeah.
Um,
We
and
could
if you
definitely
want to
do that.
reshape
Oh,
your
sorry.
goals to just be you're trying to become the player in your country with the best understanding of chess, or the best correspondence player in your country, or something like that, we can reshape the goals as well. I'm happy to do that.
No, I can tell you definitely that my goal right now takes priority. Like because, like I said, it's a goal that I have in mind. I'm not gonna change that, but the approach can always come later. I mean, after winning the championship, I can take all the time I want to learn all the positions that I would like to learn. So definitely the goal takes priority here,
Okay.
and
And
if you want to double check this mode, definitely feel free to do so. But I can like whenever I think back, because like for example, the last metric that we went um with was I had to play 10 games and have one mistake in.
yeah,
Yeah, so definitely as soon as you said that, my goal is like I hear what you said, but
and
my
you
goal
just
is
shot for that
I
intermediate goal very seriously.
my goal is to get a perfect score.
Hmm.
This is how competitive I
Yeah,
am.
I mean that's the way to get one wrong, is to try and get a perfect score, right? I mean anybody trying to get one wrong is going to get 2 wrong or 3 wrong, right? I mean you're right to go for a perfect score.
Yeah, and definitely that week I wasn't kind of testing things out.
Yeah,
Well, I did in on one of the game, but it turned out good. But
yeah,
anyways, I was definitely trying my best not to make a mistake. That was the whole point of the week. Just not to make those mistakes. But so I'm definitely thinking that this has to do with the mode, but maybe it's not exactly it.
okay.
I'm
Yeah.
again. I'm just saying today was about timing out because I don't know if by like this competitive mode that you're talking about,
Hmm.
does this need to be in all cases, no matter what the environment is. Like for example, like I'm not willing to win the championship, the bullet championship in my country. I
Right.
want to win the classical
Of
championship.
course.
So I have a yeah,
Yeah.
kind of
This is a mode you can turn on and off, but you need to have it available.
yeah. No, I definitely I'm with you on that. I wasn't 100% turning it on today because it was I was just focused on I don't know. I had a lot to deal with, like playing too fast,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that the experiment was trying to play faster,
Mm-hmm.
not win. Just to be honest
Okay.
with you, although yeah,
Okay.
although I tried my best to win, but I was thinking that the whole point of the exercise, which is the real thing to win here,
Mm-hmm.
is to play or to learn how to play faster,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I was focused on.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know, but maybe we could retry that
Yeah.
again and see what happens.
We'll keep working on it. We'll keep poking on it. Let me ask you
Yeah, but
one.
definitely the goal has priority here.
Let me ask you one more question.
Mhm.
How would you feel if I or some other coach said to you, Maestro, you're a wonderful guy, but you're never going to become the champion of your country? Somebody tells you you can't make your goal. What's your feeling or response to that?
Definitely a denial phase.
Denial phase?
Yeah. Uh, like you're saying, he says that, and I'm absolutely convinced that he's right.
Your coach says
Or
that. You don't know if your coach is right or not. All you know is, they're a fairly experienced chess coach.
like all I'm gonna be thinking of is the reasons why he's gonna be thinking of that, and I'm gonna fix those if I'm convinced. But so I'm gonna keep going for it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
Um, yeah, that's one not flaw, but definitely a characteristic that I have is that I never seem to learn when to give up. Like I don't know, I just keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't stop. And maybe this is wrong. Maybe sometimes you gotta stop, but I just don't do that.
Yeah. So you'd
Yeah,
want to know why do they think you can't do it, and then see if you can fix the reason that they.
yeah,
Yeah. Sometimes people say things like that just to get somebody to try harder. Right? Like, you can't win this, and then people get upset and try to win it harder. Other people will get depressed, so it depends and give up. Other people will be like, oh, I can't. Okay, fine, I give up. Okay, I was just
yeah.
curious. Um, let's turn it over to chat for a few minutes and
Sure.
just discuss with everybody else in chat any topics that came up in today's lesson. So, chat, if you didn't know, by now you probably know I ignore you when I'm talking with my students. But now I'm back. So if you guys have any questions or just comments, go for it. I'm happy to continue this discussion, or you can just tell everybody what you think, or tell me. You can ask me questions about teaching as well as about the substance of the lesson. Like if any of you are chess teachers, because I know a lot of chess players end up being chess teachers, like it's very natural. Once you hit a certain point, you start teaching people below you, because chess players are always asking stuff, right? Like they're asking you, like, what happened here? Anytime you beat somebody, once you're good enough to beat somebody, you're good enough to have somebody ask you to teach them something about the game.
All right.
That makes sense. Ofashach says, if one coach told him you can't do X, then he might try and get like 3 or 4 opinions, right? And if you got 3 or 4 experienced coaches who all said it, then he would say, okay, that makes sense. So it's like, to some extent, you're supposed to trust your coach, right? But like nobody's infallible, right? So, you try to trust your coach. Like if you don't listen to what they say at all, then it's pointless to have lessons with them. But you try to trust them. But if your coach says, there's no way, then maybe you ask 2 or 3 other people. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Great Wolf. Your impression is that the Maestro hasn't internalized many simple moves. He's always sort of like looking at stuff. He's never turning off his thinking.
Yeah.
Never listen to coach when he is your opponent. That's right, Titan Chess. At some point, Maestro said, I'm completely losing in a position where he was completely winning. And I said, sure, go ahead and resign or something like that. Just testing like how depressed he really was or how strong his mental frame was for trying to win. And to his credit, he didn't resign there. Yeah, I mean, I would say, for somebody around 1400 level beyond repute, I would say that normally they could probably checkmate with king and queen against king in about 10 seconds. I would think that would be enough for almost any 1400 player. So it's definitely unusual that Maestro can't do that. But this is definitely, I mean, he's definitely has some unusual strengths and weaknesses, right? I mean, good at really hard problems, really slow with some simple stuff. Tactics rating more than 1,000 points above his rating, and all kinds of different things that are not just like a standard profile. Stamen, you think all the greats have been told you're not good enough and then use that as motivation? There's probably some greats who had a lot of hype going for them and succeeded with a lot of yay-sayers. Or what is it? Bandwagoners. BG Cube, you stalemated somebody with king, queen, 5 pawns and a knight, and they had a bear king. And you're steamed. Yeah, you should win that 100%. That's shocking to me that you didn't. Where's my mouse? Okay. Maestro, which means teacher in Spanish. Yeah, it can also mean like somebody who's just like extremely good at something, right? Like they don't necessarily have to be a teacher. Teacher's one possible meaning, but like, a conductor of an orchestra will also be called maestro. You're asking me for myself, HP Bob Dole? Am I trying to improve my game, or do I just like learning new things? Both at once, really. Right, as Obashach says, master would be another meaning as well as teacher, yeah. I mean, I definitely do just like learning new things, whether or not it improves my game. I also really do strive to improve my game because I know that by going into that mode of really trying to improve, it tests and pushes my mind in ways in which like the contemplative, oh, this is interesting, that is interesting, doesn't quite do. And I want to keep the ability to like turn on, a kind of like intense working hard mode in my brain. Frankly, almost anybody has the potential to become his country's champion because the country's champion is rated 2100, and pretty much any person can achieve that rating. So it would be a realistic goal for almost any player. Him wanting to do it in 3 years was really intense, and we had renegotiated a goal of becoming number 4. within 3 years, which would put him like, he would get to play in the championship and see what the top guys are about and get some battle experience and maybe win the championship the next year. But where the goal came from, I guess just, we asked that question during the lesson today. He doesn't know exactly how he hit on that particular goal, but he definitely is sticking by it. Is a lot of it poking at mental stuff rather than technical board strategy? It depends on the teacher beyond repute. What I've taught people the most as a chess teacher, what I focus on the most is teaching people how to learn. So neither the psychological thing nor the X's and O's technical board stuff. What I have spent the highest percentage of my time, and I can teach, most aspects of chess, so this is not the only thing I've done, but I spent the most of my time teaching people how to learn. So here's an exercise. You can now go off and repeat it 5,000 times without me, right? Here's a second kind of exercise. You can go repeat 5,000 times without me. Here's like the value of a training partner. Here's how to work with a training partner. If you've watched many of my lessons beyond repute, normally right now after Maestro, we would have Baron Infinity on, and I'll have them like work together, and I just like listen and watch and then give them some advice or feedback on how to work with another person. So that is a lot of... that is what I've done the most. And the reason I've done it the most is because I think it bears the most fruit for most people. Like having tools so you can keep learning, because you need to do 90%, 95% or more of your learning outside of your time with your teacher. So if you're relying on your teacher to teach you all the technical board strategy stuff and all the tactics and everything like that, it's going to take you, either you're getting 20 hours a week of private lessons, or it's going to take you forever to get good. So I try to give you ways to improve on your own to most of my students. That said, sometimes somebody really needs some of the mental stuff unlocked. And sometimes there's, sometimes they need little pointers on the technical board strategy stuff to get them past something that they're stuck on, But there it's like cool that a teacher can figure out what they're stuck on and, what specific thing they need to hear or know to get past where they're stuck on it. But if you're assuming that it's different from student to student and situation to situation, you're right. Rango asks, for those who don't really care about like their blitz or bullet games, but only care about their classical games, what goals should they use to make those games meaningful? I would flip that around, Rango. If you don't already have a goal that makes those games meaningful, just don't play them. If you don't care about them, you don't already have a reason to sit down and play them, then don't bother doing it. And here we had a situation where I actually wanted to see what would happen if I made Maestro play bullet. Very rare, but we had a goal to it. Maestro and I don't sit around playing bullet probably ever, basically. But because there was a goal, because there was something meaningful, then we did it, right? So I would flip that around for you. I would say, you don't need to find a way to make your blitz games meaningful. I would say only do things that are already meaningful or that you already have a reason to do. And Savage says that you're a great chess teacher for him.
Thank you.
Yeah, Stamen, that's sort of like the crux of my approach to learning tactics, which most people by now who are regulars on this channel have probably seen my video on tactics. So, Savage, if you missed it, it's just that first tactical video. It's just the same theme from that video. You do this poorly, could work on this. Yeah, definitely I do that beyond repute. I give my students a profile, and I update it over time. So when we had our first lesson, I gave Maestro a profile. Last week I had a first lesson with BG Cube. I gave BG Cube a profile. I usually give a student a profile on their first lesson, and also some priority on what they should work on first or second and so forth. You play them because they're OTBing with the local community, my friends. Man, then just have fun with it, in whatever way you have fun with it. You don't need to worry about making it meaningful. Just remember that, you can switch out of the whatever mode and switch back into your carrying mode. Does Maestro play Blitz a little? Almost not.
Nope, 0.
Basically plays 45-minute chess games is like the typical time control for Maestro. And Maestro flags a fair number of games in those 45-minute games with a 30-second increment, I think, normally, or maybe 45 even. And sometimes flags endgames like the one we practiced today. He'll have rook and knight against rook, or rook against knight, and some pawns, and just flags. So Machiavel says it helped them a lot with time management to have played some blitz. How not to lose time on moves that don't have an impact on the game and use that time only on critical moves. Yeah. I don't know if you have any sense of that, Maestro, but like there are moves. This is a very good point. There are moves where like the best move is going to be, let's say, 2 pawns better than the second best move. And there are other moves where the top 10 moves have the same evaluation, right? Like white is ahead by 1.63 with one move and 1.62 with the other and 1.62 with another and 1.61 with another. And it literally doesn't matter which of those 10 moves you play. So in theory, you want to allocate more time to the moves where the difference between the best move and the second and third best moves, etc., is greatest, and as little time as possible to moves where there's no difference. It's a little more detailed than that because, for example, if you've ever thought about programming computer engines or whatever, you would know that an immediate exception is recaptures. A recapture is going to be 3 points better than not recapturing when someone takes a piece, but that's an example of a move that often you can play instantly because it's so obvious that it's the right move. But the critical moves are often going to be moves where there's a difference in evaluation that's more extreme, but it's not so obvious what the right move is. But that's one thing that maybe if you want to explore time management, that might be something we could work on at some point. I mean, we have to stay focused, but it's an interesting thought from Mike Yavel that maybe we could work on at some point, knowing which moves are more or less mattering.
Yeah.
And Drit says, blitz chess for fun is good because chess should be fun. Absolutely. If Ranga's getting to sit around OTB with other cool people who live in the same town as him and love the same game as him, awesome. Have fun. That's enough meaning, right? Yeah. Is the channel the name? No, I'm not named Chess Dojo Live. I'm named David. David Pruce. When do I think a coach is necessary? I feel stuck at 1500. I mean, a coach is never necessary, but if you're stuck for a long time, you definitely need to change something. It could be a coach. It could be a training partner. It could be a break. It could be any number of things. But the famous quote about, insanity is repeating the same thing and expecting a different result, right? Like, if you are stuck at a certain point and you're not changing anything, then you should expect to remain stuck, right? So you have to change something. It doesn't have to be a coach. A coach could be a good option. But I don't know that a coach is ever like necessary. A coach can speed things up for you an awful lot. I mean, I think, one lesson with a coach for somebody who's never had a lesson, if it's kind of like a profile and it's an experienced coach, I think that can be tremendously valuable, right? So even players under 1200, I think basically anyone can get to 1200 without a coach just by doing some tactics and some games, just reps. Even someone under 1200, I don't think it's like necessarily bad to get one lesson with a coach. Just put them on, like, you know, a little bit of a path, but they don't need like dozens of lessons. So, okay, in the old days, someone would just buy one of Reinfeld's books. Yep, that's what I had to do. I started with, you know, 1001 either combinations or checkmates or sacrifices or something. One of those. Yeah. KGB. Oh, yeah. My thoughts on chess is 99% tactics. I mean, I think already, first of all, people saying that, they mean like, you know, the results of your games, not actual chess, right? They're saying chess, that your games are going to be won or lost 99% by tactics. They're not saying that chess is 99% tactics. And I mean, 99% is probably an exaggeration. And again, it's going to depend on the level, right? I mean, at an under 1000 level, it's probably like 100% of the game is decided by tactics. But that's not all there is in chess. And then, you know, when you get GMs playing each other, they win or lose based on things other than tactics, right? Opening preparation, end games, physical fitness. They wouldn't put effort into all of those things if all of those things added up to 1% logically, right? Like I mean, one person could get it wrong, but if you look at the top 100 GMs, they couldn't all be wasting their time on stuff that's pointless when they should all just be doing 99% tactics. That doesn't make sense. We have to assume that if you get a big enough group of people who are really good at something, that their approach is partly right. Oh, sorry, Beyond Repute. So my video is actually on an old personal channel of mine, which is called David Pruce, not Chess Dojo. And Chess Dojo, I think, has the YouTube channel Chess Dojo, not Chess Dojo Live. So it's not even the same as the Twitch channel. So if you search for David Pruce, how to learn tactics, the first video of that is what was being referred to. Getting to 1500 without a coach is already a good accomplishment. I agree. Regnok. I assume, Regnok, you're just parodying the typical question that we get where somebody's like, hey, I started playing chess yesterday. How many more days till I'm a GM? I mean, okay. Artabir, if you were asking what I mean by like a profile on a player, it means like their strengths and weaknesses and stuff like that. And we could read out part of Maestro's profile if we wanted to give you an example. But it's a bunch of bullet points like good looking, aggressive setup as black, but aggression was what white could maybe do, but not black. Hanging a piece on move 7 to opponent. Oh wait, these were some notes before the whole thing. Too aggressive in the opening. Misses opponent's threats. Always looking for tactics for himself, threats, and aggression. Never looking for them for the opponents. Extremely short average game length. Almost always is losing at some point within the first 12 moves. He and his opponents both resign prematurely, non-stop, so they don't practice the middle game or the end game very much. Needs to look for more practice by playing more moves. He's gambling or playing roulette instead of chess with the risks that he's kind of taking without knowing if they work or not. Time usage is bizarre. So those were some points when I looked through his first games. So way back before our first lesson. Okay. Have you tried the woodpecker method? Great Wolf asks.
Oh,
You guys can always try and do profiles on yourself for sure, but it's definitely another person can give you a better profile on you than you can on yourself usually. I'm a relatively good profiler, I think. Well, I mean, I'm torn between being modest and being honest here. I think like looking through like the games of a player and figuring out like all sorts of stuff about them on and off the chessboard is something that I have a lot of experience with and seem to get right a lot of the time. Okay, you're genuine. You're new and you're wondering when people go to study. That's different than when you're going to be good. First of all, Regnok, everybody thinks of good as being something different. If you're 800, then like 1,000 seems good. If you're 1,000, then you probably think 1,000's bad and you want to be 1,200. And if you're 1,600, maybe you want to be 2,400. So it all depends what you think is good. But I would say if you could make it to 1,200 in about 6 to 9 months, that would be quite good. And I've got a video that you could watch with all my advice for a new player on trying to get there. So I think I'm way lagged behind in the chat, but anyway, now in the chat I hit !new for you, and that should give you a link to a video that will give you all my advice for a new player on time controls and what to learn and what to practice and everything. I do not profile criminals, no. No experience with that. The only thing I can profile is their chess. If they're a chess playing criminal, I can look at their chess games. Yeah. All right. Cool. That's all right, Regnok. You've got a cool, fun thing to explore now. Alrighty, so I think we'll leave you guys there. Maestro and I are going to go. He's going to head out to start his day. I'm going to go finish my day, put the kids to bed. And, yeah, wish you all well. Maestro, we'll see you next week at the same time.
Thank you, David.
You're welcome, always. Cheers, everybody. Let's go send out a raid somewhere. Let me try and find something interesting here. Okay, let's go to Let's Chess Live. That sounds good. All right, we're off the air.